Shalom, Yasharallah. This your brother Dawah from GMS Tampa Bay 07, coming at you with this truth again. First and foremost, I want to give all praises unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shah, Bahashem, Rucha, Kadash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone that taught me this truth and that rule well. And salutation and much love for you, Akim, pushing this truth and sincerity on the four corners of the earth and enduring afflictions. All right? I'm going to jump into this here quick little lesson dealing with America's economy, dwindling down, coming to a halt. It's pretty much, this American economy is already collapsed, okay? It's been collapsed, I want to say in 2008 is when the American economy collapsed, all right? Like, it's done, all right? And really before that, they had already been making their moves in September 10th, 2001, all right? Go look, YouTube that date, September the 10th, 2001, the day before 9/11, all right? That was when these people, I ain't gonna say when they started stealing massively, but that was when we started getting into the trillions in the debt. I believe it was like $2 trillion that went missing, and that was the big headline, but that shit was washed away after the next day, 9/11. They didn't really give a damn about that, And, going a little bit further into that, Building 7, when you go into what was inside of Building 7, they had a lot of the deeds and the titles for predominantly a lot of these businesses, all right? And this is when they started consolidating a lot of this stuff. They had already known, or not consolidating, liquidating. They had already known that they was basically going to be liquidating this whole nation, So at that point in time, they started with the 2 trillion, okay? And then you hear of other stories. I believe it was, I'm not going to say 9 trillion. It was like another large amount of money that was missing like that, And I believe it was either this year in 2018 or 2017, there was another large amount of money like that was missing as well, where people couldn't figure out where it went, And as you look at the national deficit rate, like the number that they show you, which is like, I don't know what it is now, it might be like 21, 22, 23 trillion. When you go back and you look at all this money that they had in the news that was stolen and you add all that up, that's the same number, But the true numbers in the, I want to say, it's like $200 something trillion in a debt, 220 something trillion dollars in a debt. Once you add in all the loans, all the Social Security they have to pay out, all the money that's more or less just sitting out there right now, that they have to pay in the so-called futures, But nevertheless, those was already signs that they was already stealing this stuff, And then they gave out those so-called subprime mortgages, to further take more of the how do you say, the money, or they was liquidating the middle class, and further separating, pushing, really getting rid of the upper class. A lot of the upper class, only the top 1% of the 1%, got to really hold on to their stuff, But then the other ones that was making like $1, $2, $3 million, they was even taking hits, But everybody below that, they pretty much got all their shit taken away, You see all these people bought all these houses, now they can't even afford to pay rent in an apartment, But nevertheless, that was another one of these times, and they know how to hide these numbers, all right? They know how to be like that chick in the club that when you see her, she look like the baddest dime in the whole world, Then you might take her home and sleep with this chick or whatever, and like, she might stay the night or you might stay the night with her. But when you get ready to sleep with this chick, when you see her in the club, man, she has some big ass titties, fat ass, and look fine as all outdoors, nice, long, pretty hair. But when you get her back to the house, you know what I'm saying? And y'all about to sleep together, first of all, she take off the bra. Titties ain't as big because she got this fake ass push-up bra on. Got some pants on to make her ass look fatter. She's popping off fake ass eyebrows, fake nails. She pulling a wig off her head, you know what I'm saying? Now she washed. Y'all wake up in the morning and she wash her face and ain't no makeup on. You go from sleeping with a dime to like, damn, what the hell is this beast, These women know how to put that makeup on it and make things, look nice, Same with America. They know how to cover up a lot of bullshit, They know how to cover up all the real numbers of a lot of things that they got going on, So, we're going to get into this here scripture, and then I'm going to show you a couple videos of exactly what I'm talking about, or how they know how to cover this up. But this American economy has been gone for the longest amount of time, Right now, they trying to finish getting the last little bits out of every damn thing, But really, there is no money left, And the last deal is going to come as more or less like a chain reaction. All right, you seen what happened with the Iran, not the Iran deal, but Iran dropping the petrodollar. Okay, now if you understand the petrodollar, all these other countries have to have so-called, like, how do I say, $1 bills, $2 or $1 bill, $5 bills, $10 bills, $20 bills, $100 bills, $50 bills. They need American actual money. All right. And I'm not really going to get into like the petrodollar, but that's something you can look into of how and why they need the money. All right. And to be able to buy and sell and trade oil, long story short. And it's said that there is more actual like physical American currency outside of the U.S. than there is inside the U.S. So if you was to take all the people in America, okay, that has money, pennies, nickels, dimes, quarters, all that, and all their paper money, and you add it all up together, there is way more money outside the country than it is here. Okay. And now when these people start like Iran, who's not dealing with the petrodollar, they don't need billions of dollars no more in American dollars to be able to sell all their stuff. So what are they going to do? Ship it back over here. All right. Which is going to further devalue your money. All right. But like I said, these people know how to prop up the system because they have the Federal Reserve. They can just keep printing more and more money. That's what these so-called bailouts was about. George Bush gave you the first bailout. Barack Obama gave you the second bailout, all right? And, well, Barack Obama didn't give you a bailout. He gave these companies bailouts, all right? And which that shit, it was a clear sign, If you are making car payments, let's say, right? You fall behind on your car payments, all right? Now, I come to so-called help you out to make your car payment, all right? And I just go and give you the money to make this here car payment this month, all right? That might get you by this month, but when next month come around, all right? Or put it this way. You owe money to, let's say, Ford, right? And I go over to Ford and I'm like, all right, here you go, Ford. Here go their payment for this here month. Ford's accounts is settled for that month. But once the next month roll around, the person, whoever, like, let's say you, okay? You can't afford to pay your bills to begin with. I didn't satisfy your bill this month, but when next month come around, you still can't pay, so you're in the same position. All right, so that's what Barack Obama did. He satisfied the banks and all of them, but then the people still didn't have anything, And he further took more from them, all right? And so this is why you see these bailout plans and quantitative easing. That's what that quantitative easing is about, all right? QE1, QE2, QE3, QE4, all the way into infinity. Every time they realize they account, it's like you got millions of dollars in the bills coming out of your damn account. And every time your account go in the red, you just so-called print more money in just to satisfy your account to get back to zero. But every month, you're going to keep hitting those same bills. All right, so every month, you're going to have the same discrepancy on your account. But again, what is America doing? Printing more and more money. What does that do? It devalues the amount of money you have in circulation. All right, $1 bill is extremely valuable when there is no more money on the planet Earth or in America. Let's say we only dealing in America with American dollars. If you're the one and only person with a $1 bill and nobody else has more than that, you're the richest person in the United States. All right. But if you have $1 million, all right, and everybody else around you has $1 million, like that ain't really shit. You know what I'm saying? The value of your $1 million ain't that great if everybody got it. You see what I'm saying? But nevertheless, jumping into this here scripture, this says Ecclesiastes chapter 12, verse 3. In the days when the keepers of the house shall tremble, and the strong men shall bow themselves, and the grinders cease because they are few, and those that look out of the windows be darkened, okay? And the door shall be shut in the streets when the sound of the grinding is low, and he shall raise up at the voice of the bird, and all the daughters of music shall be brought low. All right? So what we talking about here is a condition more or less of like, let's say mourning, You go to a funeral and they playing that slow, sad music at a funeral, because, hey, man, y'all in a mourning state, It ain't no need to be throwing on no Lil Jon get crunk music, That's what you play in the club when you want to party and shit like that, But when you in the mood of mourning, you have so-called low music. And so this is what America's, so-called song for the time period. If you had a song that was going to describe, let's say the time frame that you was in, when everything is all good before September 11th, everything was all good. Everything was all fine and dandy. You could play some music like some Lil Jon shit, some Getting Crunk type of shit, some Party Fiesta type of shit, Then after, let's say 9/11 happened, you on a war tip. Hey, man, it's time to go throw on some Tupac. Let's go ride on these niggas type of music, Explaining the condition or whatever you in, But then now you have, let's say there's a nuclear war and there's a bunch of people over here dying, You're not going to throw on no Lil Jon music. You're going to have some so-called sad music going on, all right? So here they describing this music being brought low. Why? Because we in a fucked up condition right now, all right? And so it says, Also, it says, in the days when the keepers of the house shall tremble, and the strong men shall bow themselves, and the grinders cease because they are few. All right, the keepers of the house shall tremble. Why? The keepers of the house. So if you keep the people over top of the house, all right, you controlling this shit, right? All right, put it this way: the keepers of the house, the owners of these businesses, all right, the people who own these big ass businesses like Ford, Chevy, General Mills, any of these big ass companies, you know, when they start to look at their profits and their margins and all this and that, sales, projected sales and all this stuff, and then they realizing that they're not really getting it like they was. Hey man, it says, in the days when the keepers of the house shall tremble. All right. Now think back to when so-called Obamacare came out. That was when the keepers of the houses started trembling, because they were like, wait a minute, we got to pay for all our employees' health care. What you mean? We finna, nah, hell nah. Then they came up with the little loophole, like, well, you ain't got to pay for non-full-time employees, so just make sure they all part-time workers, you know, which got rid of a whole lot of jobs here, you know. We ain't gonna get into that shit, but nevertheless, you know, at these points of times, you know, the keepers of the houses was trembling, because they were seeing that, damn, this is cutting into my profits. This is cutting into my money. I got to pay for these people's insurance, you know. And then now also you see the same thing with these trades. How do you say the trade tariffs and sanctions like that going on, which is also affecting these companies. All right. And nowadays there was a report saying that I believe it was like almost half of the American population make at least $20 an hour. But yet they still can't pay their bills. Like, not even just their bills. They said it was like 51 million Americans out of 100 million Americans, like working Americans. All right. Because you got like little kids that's too young to work. And then you have old people who's retired. Then you also have the disabled people. All right. We got about 330 million people here, you know. And so, you know, only 100 million of them is how do you say, in a condition to work. You know, they're in their prime state to work. You know, they don't have, you know, any limitations that's gonna bar them. You know, they're not 5 years old or 75 years old. You see what I'm saying? Or they're not missing like limbs and shit like that where we need them to do certain things, you know? But nevertheless, you know, the report said that out of the 100 so odd million Americans that's working, that's in the workforce, 51 million Americans make like, I think it was like 51 million Americans make over $20 an hour or $20 an hour and can't pay their regular cell phone bill, car payments, car insurance, and what was one other bill they said, or eating. You know, they just can't eat. Now this ain't even factoring in your shelter. All right. Now that's a big cost, you know, whether you paying a mortgage or you paying rent, you know, that's just to fucking go inside the damn front door. Now you need electricity, water, you know, some places you need to pay a gas bill, you know. And then, you know, you're going to probably want cable and internet, you know. So that's another big expense that people can't even afford. Their phone bills, food, and all this extra stuff, you know. Half of the workforce can't even afford that, and they make $20 an hour. All right. And so it says, Ecclesiastes 12:3, in the days when the keepers of the house shall tremble and the strong men shall bow themselves. Yeah, the strong men. These are the so-called people who was at one point in time, hey, man, yeah, we, you know, let's say back in, the year 2000, you know. You making $20 an hour in the year 2000, hey man, you straight. You ain't going to the Amscot. You living paycheck. Well, I mean, you can be depending on how you want to live, but you know what I mean. You could live in your means at $20 an hour. You know, you could actually live a decent life back then at $20 an hour. You know what I'm saying? And everything would be all good. But nowadays, you making that money, and you know, you looking back like, damn, I've been on for the last so many years. You know, we've been good. You know, I done bought me a 2-story house, got a 2-car garage, pool in the back. You know what I'm saying? And I'm on top of all my bills, saving some money up, bought my kid a new car and sent my other kid off to college. We good. And my wife don't even work, you know? And so ain't nothing really changed but time. And now all of a sudden you, your wife and your kids, all y'all working and still living paycheck to paycheck. All right. And so these are these so-called strong men, the people who had everything in control. They starting to bow themselves now. All right. It says, and the grinders cease because they are few. Okay. And those that look out of the windows be darkened. So the grinding, hold on, keep reading. It says, and the doors shall be shut in the streets, and the sound of grinding is low. Okay. And so now as you look in these major cities, you see a lot of these businesses closing down. All right. You see going out of business sales, liquidation sales, all kind of things like this. You know, I know we're like right across the street from my house, you know, they was building up, they had cut out this land and started putting down the pipes and everything like that to build up a Walmart, you know. And, you know, before they could even put any pipes or anything in the ground, all of a sudden, you know, a couple months back, I think it was 2017, Walmart said we are no longer building any more stores. Okay. Now, the majority of this is pretty much coming from them going to a system more or less like Amazon, where you're gonna shop online and they just send it to your door, you know. But nevertheless, you know, also this year they closing down a bunch of Sam's Clubs, you know. I just seen a news article the other day. 84 Sam's Clubs closed abruptly, you know, without warning. All right. And so you're starting to see all these businesses starting to shut down, you know, more and more businesses now, especially after the so-called Obamacare and these trade tariffs and all these different taxes and stuff going up, you know, on top of these businesses and these business owners. They don't want to take no cut. You know, they've been on and making profit over profit over profit year after year after year, you know, so they're not going to try to take no cut. So what they going to do? They're going to move their shit overseas, where the workers overseas, you know, hey, they work for way cheaper money, way less regulations. And the business owners, they still so-called, they still eating, you know, they ain't really catching no losses. But at the end of the day, the businesses here in America, all right, where me, you, and them work at, they getting shut down. And so me, you, and them, it is even harder and harder for us to pay our bills now. This is why you're seeing so many people now living with their parents. All right. This is why you're seeing so many people now having to, you know, do all kind of different shit just to, not really to make ends meet, but just to, you know, basically just to live, you know. Some people don't even realize that, because, again, people know how to put these masks on, you know. I'm over here looking at my supervisor who make, you know, quite a bit of money. And I'm like, wait a minute, how come your wife is in some kind of program so y'all can get the government to pay for y'all a house? Can't you afford a house? You make good money. She make good money. What the hell going on here? You know, and I know you make more money than me. So what the hell? What's going on here? You know, but, you know, and those are, you know, some of the signs. Is like, you know, when you start to see, when these things be revealed unto you, you know that you're not really in a good state, you know, because everybody right now think that they're in a good state. Oh, now we make $20 an hour. Yeah, but what can that $20 an hour buy you now that everything else is going up, you know? Now that all these businesses are closing down, you know, you have a way bigger employment pool to choose from, and so few businesses. So now the businesses can pay you whatever they want to pay you and treat you whatever they want to, however they want to treat you, because they can fire the whole company today and hire a whole new company tomorrow. Okay, they can get all new employees the next day because the unemployment line is super long. All right, it says, and the door shall be shut in the streets when the sound of grinding is low. He shall raise up at the voice of the birds, and the daughters of music shall be brought low. Yeah, so these businesses are starting to take losses, and they're gonna start, you know, not closing down, but they're gonna start, how do you say, getting smaller and smaller, you know? They're doing certain things to account for these things, you know? And at the very end of it all, it's going to catch me, you, and them off guard, because we're not sitting in these little meetings with these business owners, you know? They see what's coming up ahead. They're like, all right, we're going to just work for the next year, and then we're going to just immediately sell the business off, and it's going to shut down, and, you know, it's going to be 2,000 employees without jobs, you know? Now, those 2,000 employees, they still got mortgages, bills, this, and that. So when they can't pay their mortgages, well, that's a bank company that ain't getting their loan service, so they gotta up the price somewhere else. Other people who can't afford it, they gotta pay that price. You can't pay your cell phone bill. Now T-Mobile and X, Y, and Z got a slew of delinquent bills and shit, and they still trying to make their ends meet. What do you think is gonna happen there? All right, more and more service charges. All right, see, America's squeezing the last little dime out of every damn thing. All right, this is a liquidation sale. They don't really give a fuck about selling it for the real value. They trying to get rid of everything so they can bring in this new system. All right. We'll grab my next scripture here. This is Habakkuk 2 verse 6. It says, I'm gonna read this too, because it's talking about Esau and his old bitch ass. Yea, also because he transgresseth by wine. That wine is the shit that he be pouring down people's throat, getting their ass drunk. Here, sip this and tell them whatever. Not an actual drink or nothing like that, but hey, man, y'all need to press LGBT, you know, over in y'all country. You know, it's good for the people. That's what they want. Now the country all fucked up. Yeah, take these here loans and so on and so forth. Now y'all country in debt. You know, deal with us on this. But now y'all, you know, telling these other countries to do X, Y, and Z. But really, it's you know, it's impairing these people's. You know, it's like if I was telling you, hey man, drink this here water, and you looking at it, you drinking it, and everything all cool. You know, and you think it's water. You know, but all of a sudden you feel woozy and shit. You don't really know that I done gave you some vodka or something like that, you know? Now you trying to get inside your car and drive, and you wonder why you done ran into a pole. Because I done fed you this so-called wine, you know, and it threw off your you know, how do I say, you thinking in the right mind state. No, we don't want no dumb shit like that. Your banking system is flawed. It's a fiat currency. It ain't gonna do nothing but make us go broke, you know? But because they didn't drink from this man's wine, they basically how do they call that shit? Like when you drunk, more or less to say. But yeah, you inebriated, you know, you can't make sound decisions, you know. But it says, yea, also because he transgresses by wine, he is a proud man. Yeah, we're the greatest country in the world. We're gonna make America great again. We're the richest country. We got this, and that. But America really threw, man. Just like I was saying about that chick that's fine dime, this, and that. But at the end of the day, she take off all that fake ass shit. You really see her for what she is. She a ugly ass brute beast, you know? Says, he is a proud man, neither keepeth at home, who enlarges his desire as hell and is as death and cannot be satisfied. Yeah, you can't be satisfied. You don't know when to stop with the shit that you got going on. And we're going to show you some of this in these videos I'm going to play here in a sec. You know, you can't just, you know, produce enough for what the fuck you going to sell. You have to overproduce because you be like, look, you know, we know that we only got 10 sales. Only 10 people want to buy this shit. But fuck it, we're going to make 100 just in case somebody else want to buy some more, you know? And at the end of the day, man, you didn't overproduce. Now you got to do something with the shit you overproduced. All right? And this is, he gathereth unto him all nations and heapeth unto him all people. Shall not all these take up a proverb against him? Okay, all these talking about these other nations. A taunting proverb against him and say, woe to him that increaseth that which is not his. Okay, how you keep increasing the shit that ain't yours? Like, you going over here stealing other people's country, stealing their resources. All right, like you see in Venezuela right now. America trying to go over there and increase their oil supply in Venezuela, which it ain't theirs. It's the Venezuelan oil supply, all right? It says, woe to him that increases that which is not his. How long? And to him that ladeth himself with thick clay. Okay? Shall they not rise up suddenly that shall bite thee and awake, that shall vex thee, and thou shalt be for booties unto them. Okay? We're not going to continue on reading on there, but nevertheless, it's talking about how long, and to him that ladeth himself with thick clay. That thick clay is with thick debt, you know, $220-something trillion in the debt, man. Man, that number is like, man, come on, like, let's be for real. You know what I'm saying? Like, for real. You know what I mean? You could probably buy the whole fucking planet with that price, but America alone is that far in the debt, you know? Any other systems that you got here in America, they wouldn't let you go that far in the damn debt. You know, without cutting your shit off or taking your ass to jail. Like, yo, you way irresponsible. But yet America's still steadily spending, steadily creating more and more debt, you know? And keep on going. Tell me something, we're going to make America great again. How you going? That's like you in your house. You just maxed out all your credit cards and took out all the Amscots you could and borrowed all the money from everybody else. All right? And now you want to go and remodel your house when you already in debt. All right? You can't borrow another dime and you trying to go and remodel your house. Like, yo, bro, hold up. You already in debt and can't pay that shit off. We're not finna let you borrow no more money. You just done for. All right? So, I'm going to get on to these videos real quick. They're not long. I think it's a total of about 4 minutes. But they're going to explain this, you know, in two different, not really two different sectors, but you'll be able to see how all over that this is a big sham, you know. America is done. The economy is finished, all right? Here's the video.
When automakers have unsold cars, they often ship them to locations where the automobiles sit until they fall apart. An article in Zero Hedge claims that the lots are vast graveyards for unsold cars, but other observers are challenging the charges. One of these massive parking lots for unsold cars is in Sheerness in North Kent, England. There are hundreds of similar lots around the world, including more than 57,000 rotting cars in one location in Baltimore.
You see these images that they got up here, and they said 57,000 cars in one lot, you know, and just in one location. All right. Now they'll get into the reason why they can't just give these cars away, because it's going to further fuck up the manufacturers, because they'll get into it. But nevertheless, man, you see how many people out here need so-called transportation, just to like actual legitimate people who need transportation, not little Ray who trying to push that weight. But you know, you got some people who sit there and ride bikes miles and miles to work, you know, rain, sleet, or snow in the heat, you know, back and forth to work because they just can't get ends to meet, you know, get up that far up ahead, you know, but they need a car. They trying to do what they can do to be a so-called law-abiding citizen, you know, do everything right, but they just on hard times, you know. You could be giving these cars out, renting them out way cheaper. You know, you could do a lot of different things where you could still make a little, because right now you paying money to ship these cars, to store these cars, and for the fucking lot. You have to pay for all this shit, you know, so it's costing you money. You could at least, hey man, if I'm paying, let's just say $100 a day for each of these cars, first of all, if I just gave the car away, it's going to save me money because I don't have to spend $100 a day. All right. Now, if I sold you the car for just $1, that's way more of a profit than I'm making than me paying out $100 a day for the car. All right. But going back to the video.
Baltimore. The report claims that sales of new cars has been declining over the last few years, leaving millions of cars without an owner. They sit in giant lots, unused and unmaintained. As manufacturers produce more cars, the companies buy more land around the auto graveyards to contain the vehicles. Zero Hedge stated that,
and like I was saying about the cost of certain things going up because of business dealings and things like that we, me, you, and them don't see because we not in these meetings with these business owners. All right, we have to come up and pay the price. All right, so with these here cars just sitting here on these lots and stuff like that, hey man, the company, these manufacturer companies, you know, they have to pay for this shit, you know? They're not in business to be giving out money. They're in business for one reason only. Every business is in business for one reason only, all right? To make a profit. Anything beyond that is not a legitimate business. Ain't no business can be like, look, I'm going to buy this for $1 and sell it to you for $1 just so that you can have it because I know where to get it, you know? There's no business that make like that because I'm wasting my time and ain't getting nothing out of it, you know? So, again, these car prices are going up because why? Because cars aren't selling and they just sitting on these lots. Well, if the car prices are going up, all right, what do you think is going to happen to these people who don't have jobs, can't pay their damn bills, all right? Now, you're going to charge them even more for a car that they can't even afford to begin with, and this is going to be more cars sitting on these lots that the next batch and the next generation are going to just cost even more money, all right? Continuing on.
Quote, the car industry would never sell these cars at massive reductions in their prices to get rid of them. No, they still want every buck. If they were to price these cars for a couple thousand.
They want every buck. Neither is he satisfied. Okay, he enlarges his desire is enlarged as hell, basically. All right, he's never satisfied. This is Esau. They'll never sell these cars. We're not gonna never give you shit. You got to pay for this. You know what I'm saying? But the pride of this motherfucker, man, he ain't trying to get rid of none of these cars. He's like, nah, y'all gonna have to. We gonna sell these bitches for full value. All right, now if you go and you look around on the internet, you'll find cars. There was a video of like a 1984 Chevy Camaro and one of these damn lots. Still with the plastic on the seats, the plastic on the floor and shit like that. Now, like a 1984 Camaro, brand new. What are y'all holding on that car for to sell that shit and not drop the price on it? Who the fuck what kind of shit is that? It's the pride of y'all heart. Nah. We made this shit. Y'all gonna have to pay full value for this. You know, but the pride of him is deceived him. Bro, you know how much money you've been paying on that car? Year after year. You didn't pay more in the store in that damn car than what the car's fucking worth. All right? And you in an endless pit now because if them cars go back to the 80s, at least that's, you know, that was just one of the cars I seen from the 80s and it's all the way up until today. You see what I mean? And then this is also why these car prices are just year after year, the prices are increasing on them. All right?
They would sell them. However, nobody would then buy any expensive cars and then they would end up. No, they still want every buck. If they were to price these cars for a couple thousand, they would sell them. However, nobody would then buy any expensive cars, and then they would end up being unsold. Many of these giant lots are visible on Google Maps, including a former test track in Sunderland, England. That track was recently closed due to the enormous number of unsold cars covering the grounds. And the latest map views show the automobiles disappeared, according to Zero Hedge. Matt Hardigree, writing for Jalopnik, states that many of the pictures shown by Zero Hedge are old. He said, go back to the Getty or AFP or AP sources for these photos, and you'll see that by and large they're photos from the middle of the post-recession carpocalypse when the car market collapsed in Europe and in the United States. If the reports of auto graveyards are true, this would not be the first time corporations have thrown away vast quantities of unsold product. In 1983, Atari buried tens of thousands of copies of their video game E.T. the Extraterrestrial after suffering the...
Alright, I'm gonna pop on this here other video. Getting us another little short one. Let me find it real fast. This one here. That was dealing with cars.
Regulators are investigating several high-profile allegations of channel stuffing, a way companies can pad profits. Scott Cohn is here now to tell us about channel stuffing, what it is, how you can spot it. Scott?
I'm out here on the loading dock, Maria, kind of to illustrate, because this is where the channel gets stuffed, the distribution channel. You know, generally, once a company's product leaves here and goes out the door, it is considered sold. But is it really? Coca-Cola, federal authorities are investigating charges by a former employee that the company sent trucks loaded with Coke syrup from the loading dock around front to the parking lot just to be able to say it was sold.
Now, you just heard him say that they took a truck that was supposed to be being sold and went from the loading dock and just moved it to the front of the parking lot just to say that it was sold. Because once they ship it out, it's basically accounted as sold, you know? And so this is what these damn devils is doing. You know, now you wonder, like when I was a kid, you can go get a damn can of soda out of the machine for like 50 cents. Nowadays, you can find some machines, they like 75, 85. Hell, I'm actually sitting across from a machine right now where the damn can of sodas is like 150. All right. And so, you know, now a lot of this, you know, is based off the so-called vendor and the vendor machine, whoever, you know, they can set whatever price they want. But when you go to, like your main stores and stuff like that, where, like your 7-Elevens and things like that, and you see the, you know, Cokes on the, shelf and things like that, basically you all have a uniform price. But again, those dollar bottle sodas, you know, now they like $1.80-something cents, 70-something cents, you know, and the cans as well. They're not the same price as they was beforehand, you know, and this is the reason why. The can didn't get no bigger. The ingredients didn't get no better. It's not costing the company any more money to produce this. All right. They just you're paying for 2 sodas instead of 1 because they're not slowing down production. They want to keep maximizing profit year after year after year, meaning they got to sell. If they sold 10 this year, that means next year we got to at least settle 11 to be on. All right. We got to do 11 or better. All right. We can't go and do 9 this year and say, oh, we just had a bad year. Nah, they want to keep up sales. And so what are they going to do? If people just stop selling them or buying them, what are they going to do? Well, we'll just either up the price or we'll send them out or dump them somewhere and make the customer pay for it, all right? Just like the car companies, all right? Here you go again with the video.
The massive channel stuffing scheme, which the company denies, that allegedly inflated Coke sales by hundreds of millions of dollars in the 1990s. At General Mills, the company has been told to expect civil charges by the SEC after a former manager said the company paid grocers to take extra boxes of cereal off its hands so it could say it met sales targets. The company says it's complied with accounting rules, but others say it's channel stuffing. Accounting expert Howard Shillett says it's an old trick that almost always has the same result.
It almost always plays out badly for investors because no new revenue has been created. There are no new customers that have demanded the product.
Fortunately for investors, channel stuffing can also be easy to detect right there in a company's financial statements. Because while a company can recognize revenue as soon as the product goes out the door, it also has to record the sale as an account receivable until the customer pays for it. The top warning sign for channel stuffing, according to accounting expert Jay Taparia, a company's receivables growing faster than its sales.
They are sending inventory out and pushing their accounts receivable further out into the future for collection.
Case in point, Cutter & Buck, the golf shirt maker, which admitted channel stuffing 2 years ago. In its spring quarter of 2000, sales went up 34%, but receivables went up 58%. The company ultimately had to restate its profits by $10 million that year, and the CEO resigned. Other warning signs, notes about unbilled receivables, a sign the company is giving customers a break for sitting on all that inventory, and an unusual number of returned goods, especially at the beginning of a quarter. Now, none of these is proof a company is stuffing the channel. They're just red flags, reasons to ask questions. And channel stuffing is not always illegal. For example, it's generally okay if the customer has agreed to take early delivery of the product. But regardless, if a company is channel stuffing, the chickens will eventually come to roost or come right back here to the loading dock. Maria, a couple of industries where this is prevalent: pharmaceuticals and technology.
Interesting. All right, Scott. Thank you, Scott Cohn. Up next on the closing bell, making it big by investing in.
So, I mean, there you have it. Like I said, they're like that chick at the club that know how to dress up, and put that makeup on, all right? You think that these companies is year after year, profits is going up and so on and so forth, You think that these companies is doing good because, again, you see these shelves is being packed, car companies still making new cars, so on and so forth, But at the end of the day, what's really going on? They're just covering all this up, At the end of the day, when these car companies start looking at how much lots they have full of unsold cars, when like you saw the cereal company, Coca-Cola, all these companies, they say, look, man, it's just like the housing market, They've been inflating, it's a bubble, man. They've been inflating all this stuff for at the very last minute. Once they take the so-called quantitative easing out, or they take this prop out, everything's going to collapse and fall. Then you're going to see, and that's what they're setting it up for this economy change, because that's what they want. They want to change this economy from a so-called paper dollar currency into the RFID chip, all right? Lord willing, this here lesson was edifying. Until next time, I say, call halal Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shah. Double honors to the apostles and elders, a great millstone that taught me this truth and that rule well. And salutation and much love for you. I can push this truth and sincerity on the four corners of the earth. Stay strong. Shalom.